Welcome to the Freddie Kissoon Show. All I'm saying, next time, bring the evidence. All you do, you come here, corruption. Just here. Next time you come here, bring your I am not talking about that. I'm talking about you in 2024, December, saying there's corruption. Bring it.
Let me ask you this question. I would like to ask the AG to propose legislation for what we call small claims court. There are lots of poor people, to an example you just gave, that they have issues with others and sometimes with large firms, but the lawyer fee is greater than the fee you're claiming.
It is their right. Unlike the right that someone has, all of our rights exist in context.
What is the context for second medical opinion?
Because you're disrespecting the process.
No.
Jesus, this is common sense, man.
Any situation which you seem to do, you're just dealing with Afro-Guyanese issues. If one, you can't bring and pull the leaders of the African community together, you're failing. And if two, you can't put forward a future and a blueprint and a plan for African Guyanese, you're failing as well.
Hi there. Very good evening to you, wherever you are, based in different time zones. Good morning, good afternoon, good day, good night. This is the Freddie Kissoon Show, coming to you from one of the most iconic places in Guyana, the Botanic Gardens. We are just opposite the famous Kissoon Bridge. I think the foliage would obscure the Kissoon Bridge. Is there someone in Guyana who is familiar with the early 1970 leadership of political parties, leadership in Guyana, leadership in civil society, and the works? Was that person familiar with those in the 70s, 80s, 90s? There is such a person. He's a dinosaur like me. We've been around a long time. We've known each other for the past 50 years when we were young teenage radicals. That person, therefore, knows a lot about Guyana's sociology and politics. He has graced this program 4 times in the past, and he's here tonight, in his own words, to expose icons and images that need to be talked about. Icons and images that go back decades ago. Tonight, the Caribbean's most enduring pan-Africanist, and that would also be Guyana's most enduring pan-Africanist, and one of Guyana's most experienced political activists is here tonight to analyze images and to comment on people that we're supposed to respect or have been respecting for too long. Alongside with me is our dependable co-host, though he's always late. Did you hear that? Leonard Craig. Our guest this evening is Gerald Perreira, and we should be in for a ride the next hour. Thanks for being with us. Thanks for Leonard Craig being here. And the floor is open to Gerald Perreira. Gerald?
Yes, Freddie.
Gerald,
yeah, buddy.
Leonard Craig is not as old as us, and he doesn't know much about your history. I do. We hung out together for years, 18, 19, 20 years. You left, you went in Africa. You were a very influential pan-Africanist in Africa. The Middle East. You married a Lebanese woman. Your daughter is now in Lebanon. You know a lot, Gerald. And you said to me, I want to talk about icons and images that I want to expose. The floor is yours, Gerald Perreira.
First of all, Freddie, I'd like to greet the viewers, the listeners, and a special salute to all the OVP members and supporters, not only in Guyana but abroad. In
you have
the
to
United
tell people
States.
who the OVP.
The OVP is the Organization for the Victory of the People. As you were aware, we contested the 2015 and 2020 elections, the elections at the regional level. We told our supporters to vote, give APNU AFC the presidential vote, but don't give them everything. Don't put all the eggs in one basket. Give us the regional vote. However, when APNU got into office, imagine we were campaigning, our vehicles were going around, and we had
like you gonna bust up some bags now?
Banner of Marcus Garvey on one side and Forbes Burnham on the other. We are the organization that is responsible for the revival, according to Donald Rodney. Not Donald Rodney, Eddie. The revival of Forbes Burnham in this country. Yet, when APNU, this is not the sour grapes, we're not interested in that. Freddie, I've been in political activism not for office. I am not a careerist and an opportunist. I am committed to the fight for truth and justice. I'm a revolutionary. I'm not a political prostitute and hustler, and this country abounds with many. But APNU AFC never reached out to us and said, well, y'all campaign for us. Perreira, would you like to recommend someone to sit on a board or somebody? They never reached out to us. They didn't do it in 2015 and 2020 the same. Now, I want to say something. There's a difference between the PNC and the PNCR. I do not believe that what constitutes the PNCR today, the major political formation in APNU, is the party of Forbes Burnham. I know many persons who are in APNU. The minute you mention Burnham name, they shiver. I will not call names, but they're not committed to anything.
Well, you say your purpose here is to call
Yes. Well, yeah, we'll get there. Let me tell you something. When Mr. Hoyt took over the party, and Mr. Hoyt lost the elections, before he lost the elections, I was in Libya, and the Libyans extended an offer to Guyana to help Guyana beef up the security on the borders, to assist with, give them military assistance, to do over the entire Georgetown hospital, and to give Guyana oil below the market price. This is what I brought, that missive, I brought it. And I delivered it to Prime Minister, then Prime Minister Hamilton Green, whose office was in public building. Rovin Deodat was his communication advisor. After Hoyt lost elections to Dr. Jagan, when Hammy was launching the Good and Green Guyana, I asked Hammy, I said, what happened to that offer the Libyans extended to Mr. Hoyt? And Hammy told me that Mr. Hoyt rejected it on the grounds that he did not want the Americans to antagonize the Americans. Why I'm saying this is because there's a lot of talk about sovereignty.
For historical perspective, just stop quickly. At that time, wasn't the Libyan people friends with the Americans? You were talking about 1990?
No.
They weren't?
This is, the Libyan revolution was 69. There was a friend that made this, when I brought that message, this was in the 80s.
80s?
In the 80s.
Oh, okay.
This was at the height of when Libya was giving assistance to freedom movements. To Mandela's,
the late 80s,
to Mandela's ANC
died
and up
in
to the 90s,
80,
yes.
85.
But Burnham, they did reach out to Hoyt. They did not know Hoyt. But they met Hamilton Green. They knew of Hamilton Green, I think, somewhere through Minister Louis Farrakhan. Good? So I took that missive to Hamilton Green.
Okay.
But nothing came up. But what I'm showing you is that there's a lot of talk about sovereignty and independence. And I know whatever some people might feel about Forbes Burnham, right? There's two schools of thought about Forbes Burnham. There are those who see Forbes Burnham as saint and those who see him as demon. I take the middle ground. I take the middle ground because no human being is infallible. He made political mistakes, but he was a visionary. He was a visionary leader, and he was taking this country somewhere. But there's all this talk about sovereignty and independence, but external forces have been dictating to this country and bullying leaders. Ibrahim Traore, you see I'm wearing this t-shirt. We're promoting this because this is what we're about. Ibrahim Traore said that the French and the Americans came into his office and told him you cannot pursue that path that you're doing, that decolonizing, that process, completing that process of decolonization in order to achieve economic independence, and actually threatened him in his office. They said, look what happened to Lumumba. This is what they told him. Look what happened to Patrice Lumumba, the great Congolese leader, and look what happened to Muammar Gaddafi. In other words, they were telling him, sending a straight message, that if you go down that road, you will be dealt with. So if they can tell that to a military man, like Ibrahim Traore, that, and these are people who are resisting pseudo-Islamic groups, pseudo-jihadist groups that the West is supporting to destabilize these countries. If they can do that to him, you imagine what they say to Guyana. Look at Rubio. Marco Rubio walked into this country and behaved as though he is some governor. And you talk in such a condescending, a paternalistic way, and last but not least, a very racist way towards the president of this country and towards the people of this country. And this is, I want people to know this, because there is a lot to be told, and it's important for the young generation to know, because I might have some disagreements with Freddie, but I read Freddie because I can understand at an intellectual and philosophical level. Freddie mentioned in 2 columns, I think he recommended that some political leaders should read, it's either Soren Kierkegaard or Arthur Schopenhauer. I believe, Freddie, that anybody who wants to lead a country or a political organization to bring about change, meaningful change, I believe they should study, they should read. It's important to read political philosophy, familiarize yourself with the classics, Good? Study Caribbean history and the sociology of the Caribbean, including the history and sociology of Guyana. I am not saying that you have to have a first degree in any one of these disciplines or a PhD, because Marcus Garvey wrote the Philosophy and Opinion. Marcus Garvey wasn't an academic, he then went to university. The great C.L.R. James, one of the third world and Caribbean greatest thinkers,
of course,
and political philosopher, never even did a first degree. Good? Hubert Nathaniel Critchlow did a correspondence course with Ruskin College, went to Russia, the Soviet Union, then Soviet Union, and came back using the word comrade. And I can name Malcolm X. I can identify many people who have influenced thought leaders and those who have influenced social and political movements that didn't have tertiary education, but they studied and empowered themselves.
Leonard, I don't think you know much of the Gerald, but Gerald has walked in the political pathways of this country for 50 years. Over to you.
You started on a trend just now. You're discussing your support for the Burnhamite type of resurgence in the APNU.
There's no Burnhamite resurgence in the...
No, the ideology I'm talking about.
There's no ideology. The APNU has no ideology.
No, exactly that's what I'm saying. You believe that they don't.
Mm-hmm.
And you said you carry Garvey and Burnham photograph on either side of your banner.
Because those two leaders articulated in very meaningful way the concept of self-reliance.
Right.
That's why they went. We put them together.
Good. And you are saying you're not seeing enough of that in APNU.
No.
Good. I don't think Alexander and Granger would agree with you, because those two gentlemen got libraries and
under Granger's presidency, there were 4 foundations in his private home in
yes,
Burnham name.
Yes.
And
Alexander has a Burnham Foundation and all of that.
That's don't be careful. Go on. Sorry.
Yeah. How you right? Go ahead.
Okay. First of all, you know, if you go to Egypt, you go into a barber shop, you go into the butcher shop, you will see a picture of Jamal Abdel Nasser. Good? When Nasser died, Sadat and everybody, all of them, they have to pay lip service.
Please tell your viewers which country Nasser is from.
Jamal Abdel Nasser was the leader of, I mentioned Egypt, of the Republic of Egypt, you know. He was a great leader, North African Arab leader. So there is a tendency, right, that those personalities, those giants of personalities, when they pass, because the people, they express the will.
You're coming up to his question?
Yes, the will of the people. So the thing with Burnham is, I go through villages and you go all over in this place, and poor people love Forbes Burnham. I am saying that David Granger and Alexander them, right, their relation to Burnham is one of sentiment. They like Burnham because he was a great speaker, right? He was an astute political statesman. They like Burnham for that. But I don't think deeply at the philosophical and ideological level they are with Burnham. Good? The Burnham Foundation was launched, like I can't recall chairman or something, but I was leaving, going away. So I said it's better to pass on. Then I lost track of what happened, and the next thing I knew is that Vincent Alexander was heading the foundation. I know Vincent, he's my friend, but our lines ideologically and politically, Vincent has never invited me to speak at the Burnham Foundation. But he invited, I think, Dr. Henry Jeffrey. 5 years, look at what Ibn Traore is doing in Burkina Faso. I think 5 years, you can do a lot of things in 5 years for the dispossessed and the poor. Good? And ask him, say, no, 5 years is not good enough because they did nothing. And we're seeing that the Azruddin Muhammad phenomenon is a direct result of APNU, to be, I'm talking here no more, but the PNCR, right, not fulfilling their obligation to the dispossessed Africans of this country. They have failed them, and all of them should take responsibility and blame for what then you see this so-called, what they refer to as the so-called scrapeheads, right? Or as Fana would call the wretched or the lumped proletariat in sociological language. Good? Rallying behind someone who has no history of political activism. It is an indictment.
Yes, it is.
And all of them should take responsibility.
It's an atrocity.
And I will name them, not just the PNCR, but ACTA, PANAF movement, and all of them. Do you know we tried on numerous occasions to set up stalls once a month at the PANAF gardens where people can bring their products, and so we can put books on sale and all of that and have discussion. And if you know the resistance, because there are people who are gatekeepers, they be gerontocrats, and many of them believe that they own.
Gerontocrats, that lady that is the head of ACTA,
Yeah.
that lady's been the head of ACTA for 40 years. Lincoln Lewis has been the head General Secretary of TUC for 35 years.
Well, you know, if you were doing something, it's not a problem, you know, that of course you have to make way for young people, and I have a sense of urgency. We don't, people like myself, Freddie, we don't have more.
But before Craig comes in again, Gerald, I want to ask you this. No one knows about your history more than me, because at 18, 19, we hung out together until we become now dinosaurs. Right. When a prodigy was being formed, Gerald, I know you, I know all the pan-Africanists, Dalgetty.
Yeah.
Dalgetty had have harsh words to say about the prodigy.
Yes.
If you're talking about the prodigy and being formed, why nobody reached out to you?
Well,
you were the foremost pan-Africanist in the Caribbean. We just had a shower, so we had to move from our Benab opposite the Kissoon Bridge. And so we have gone to another Benab, so the scene behind us will be different. So let's continue with the question when the rains came. So Gerald, before the rains interrupted us, I was asking why, when a prodigy was formed, decade of African people with your track record and all that you have done, you and Dalgetty have done. I know Dalgetty was part of Ipadaji and he left in bitter frustration. But why won't you? I mean, if anybody had said to me, Freddie, name some Africans from the 70s and 80s that have kept the flame of Pan-Africanism going, your name would be at the top of the list. Why didn't Vincent Alexander and the rest of them ask you to be part of Ipadaji?
Well, Freddie, that's a very good and interesting question. I did reach out on a number of occasions to Ipadaji. Phone calls, went to their office, and I think the woman who was heading it at that time, one of the officials, Sampson, I can't remember.
Gerald Sampson.
Sherry, not Gerald Sampson, I don't think Sherry.
Sherry.
No. Remember Olive Sampson? And calls were never returned or anything to me. But I am not bothered. I do what I have to do at the grassroots level. I am a central executive member of the Caribbean Pan-African Network, which stretches across the entire, even beyond CARICOM. We have in the French-speaking countries. And the chairperson of that is Barbados Ambassador to CARICOM, David Commission, who's a well-known Pan-Africanist in the region of Barbados. Let me tell you why I believe they never reached out to me. You look at the history of Pan-Africanism, the 1900, the first conference in 1900. And you will see that there have been tendencies in the Pan-African movement, okay? You can't go to Africa and find one African leader who will tell you that he's not a Pan-Africanist. You know, he will tell you, everyone. Gasha Buthelezi from the Inkatha Zulu party that was taking help from the apartheid regime to attack the ANC militants will tell you he's a Pan-Africanist. Mobutu Sese Seko, who in the Congo, will tell you he's a Pan-Africanist. Paul Kagame
was in the pain of the CIA.
Yeah, and was in the pain of the CIA. Paul Kagame, who is a tool of Washington and who's using, right, armed groups in the Congo to steal the resources of the Democratic Republic of Congo, will tell you he's a Pan-Africanist.
Yeah.
And so is Museveni. So that's a type of nominal Nazi lip service. Then as Kwame, then there's the revolutionary Pan-Africanists that come in the tradition of Kwame Nkrumah. Jamal Kwame Nkrumah, the first president of independent Ghana. Jamal Abdel Nasser of Egypt. Ahmed Ben Bella, you know these people,
anyway,
right?
Yeah,
Ahmed Sekou Toure, Kwame Toure, who I had the honor of working with, and other Pan-Africanists when we were drafting documents to subcommittees or committees in the African Union. Good. I met, the only one I never met was Mandela. I knew Mugabe and all of them.
Well, let's get
so
to
the point is that you have, there's a
invitation.
tendency in this country that pays lip service to Pan-Africanism, good, but are scared of people like me because I'm seen as too militant. I've heard it, right? You cannot be a Pan-Africanist, an authentic Pan-Africanist, without being anti-capitalist, make no apology, and anti-imperialist. Freddie mentioned, Freddie keep making reference to Maurice Odell's book. I tried to get a copy, but have not been able to do so.
It's not anymore.
No, at all, since bookstore. But Maurice, what Maurice is dealing with, the neo-imperialism.
It's a good,
You
it's a
can
good
go
book.
right back, you know, and read Nkrumah Neo-colonialism, the final stage of the imperialism. And you will see that what Morris is talking about
We used to,
is
that
there.
was one of our Bibles when
That
we
was
were
one
young.
of our, that's right. Nkrumah dealt with it. So Nkrumah said, look, the independent, this newly independent state has nominal
But
independence.
let's come to Guyana. Let's come to
Yeah.
Guyana.
So what I'm saying is these people do not rock the boat. Many of them have their children are studying in US universities, and they have their bank accounts there and their visas. So there's some Pan-Africanists. Hear this, and I make no apologies for this. Right? There's some so-called Pan-Africanists who are good on beating up on Indians. But when it comes to beat up on white people, they're scared. They will never go down there. I was out of the country when when Hakeem Jeffries came to this country. Hakeem Jeffries was here. Sorry, and I'm saying this now, that I did not run into Hakeem Jeffries, because what I would have told Hakeem Jeffries
You would have been arrested.
in the language that is sharp, right, and not diplomatic, he would have run out of this country, because Hakeem Jeffries is a downright hypocrite who has stood up and watched the genocide that is going on in Gaza. Children are being told to go to points to collect food, and as they go, they're being shot. And he got up in the Congress and welcomed a mass murderer. And I agree with you, Freddie, what they are doing is worse than what Hitler did.
So let me extrapolate for the audience. You're saying, back to epology, that you believe you are not invited because people think you're radical, and your radicalism could put them in trouble with the white country.
I believe so.
Okay.
And radical doesn't mean extremist.
Right.
You know, radical comes from the Latin word root, radix, the root, to get to the root. So if you want to understand what's happening, good, you have to get to the root. And that's what radicalism is about. Radicalism is not synonymous with extremism.
All right.
But Joel, let's talk more about, you said to me when we were planning.
Just before, Freddie, just before you go on, I just want to say this. There is an authentic Pan-Africanism and a fake and bogus Pan-Africanism. Okay?
Yeah, you said that before.
Good, that's clear. The other thing is I want to clarify, since we're on this issue, I see sometimes the term Afrocentric is used to describe certain individuals, personalities, or organizations. I do not believe this, based on my study of Afrocentricity as articulated by Malefi Keti Asante in the Afrocentric Manifesto and Afrocentricity, as well as some others, that there is any authentic Afrocentric organization in Ghana. I think the only person, Guyanese scholar, who writes from an Afrocentric perspective is Kimani Debussy.
Can we go back to David Granger and Vincent Alexander? I think if you ask mature people who are familiar with current Guyanese history, they will call Granger and Alexander, identify them as pro-Burnham. What it is that you felt in your heart that was a betrayal of black people, black youths, that Granger, pathway that Granger refused to walk, a pathway that could have at least bring some kind of joy, some kind of mental, psychological, economic elevation to African people. as this man is the president of Guyana and he has 4 foundations in Burnham's name, what is it that you say, I can forgive Granger for this? What?
First of all, when the APNU got into office, the first thing they did was to give themselves a huge increase in salary. Right? That, I was furious about that. And then there were people who were saying it was not Granger. I said, don't give me that. Granger is in charge.
Yeah.
Okay? When we were campaigning in 2015 and 2020 elections, we went into Mocha and all those villages, traditional African villages, and people told us that when the APNU AFC people went around campaigning, they gave out their numbers to them, their phone numbers and all of that. But when they got into office and they called them for assistance and they had problems and so, all those numbers were changed. They never see them. Esther Perreira told me what
litigated.
Yes, in the famous case with Janet Jagan, right? Yes. Told me what happened to her and her son. But so the people, we were getting this sense of betrayal. But now, whatever you want to say about Foxborough now, there was a time when the PNC was rooted in the working class. The PNCR today is led by people of a petty bourgeois class character. Those people are, they are the so-called non-ideologically driven people, right? Mr. Granger was asked, I think, in an interview from a special paper we brought out for the 2015 elections called In These Times. And the question was posed to Mr. Granger, what is his ideology? What is the ideology? And he said, we don't have an ideology.
You have a copy of that? Still
I will give you a copy of that. In These Times, it was circulating. Our members were giving it out freely at the rallies.
Good.
But they have an ideology. There are all the political parties in this landscape, and the masses in this country need to understand that all the political parties in this country are committed to neoliberal economics. You can talk nonsense, but you can't.
So, and you call that an ideology, right?
Yes.
Okay.
It is an ideology.
Earlier you spoke of that in 2018, I think.
Yeah.
You campaigned, and then in 2020 you campaigned for the local seats. And you asked
the regional level.
Yeah, regional level, right. And you asked that people vote for APNU, AFC at the top level, parliament and president and so on. And then you said that, you know, they never consult or talk. But if you're asking at whatever level for people to vote against me, why should I cooperate with you?
To vote against you where? We weren't telling.
At whatever level. You were saying to vote for OV.
No, we told people, because this is politics. The way I, Gerald Perreira, feel about the world doesn't make it what it is.
Understood.
Good. So you have to say, whether you like Lenin or not, right? You have to read people. Lenin said in State and Revolution, you have to be a Leninist to acknowledge what Lenin said. That you have to make sure that when you are leading, that you know so far ahead, you're way in front, and when you're looking for the people, the way back. You have to see where the people are. Social transformation, especially radical social transformation, is not easy. It is not, it's a tough, right, process with twists, turns, setbacks, ups and downs. We said the people wanted, you go into the villages, we're hearing them, they want Granger there. We did not run contests at the presidential level, primarily for two reasons. Main reason being because the people wanted up north.
Yeah, but what you said earlier,
no, but what
is
we
that
said
you
was,
told the people, don't give them all.
All, give us the region.
You're right.
Because if we
and
got
then
the
I'm saying to you, why should I, Apnu AFC, I'm just putting myself in their place, why should I cooperate with you when you were telling people don't give me all when I want all?
No, well, let's get to that. I am telling, it shows how you don't put the interest of the people first, and it's all about just having power. Because you should have been matured enough, politically matured and patriotic to say, look,
I mean,
you know, these people campaigning and telling people give us.
It's your friends to
right?
share the thing.
Why not put us in? But they're afraid. You know why, Leonard and Freddie? Because let me tell you something, I cannot be bought. And if they know it, and if I was placed in any position, and I see nonsense going on, I would upset the apple cart. I'm a step in the mango cart. Yes, sorry, the context, we don't grow apples, sorry. Right? I would upset that mango cart. So I'm a stepping razor, as Peter Tosh said. So you keep Perreira out. You keep Perreira out of this. And that is what they've done. I stopped sending letters to the press because they haven't been. Look,
they publish GKH
letter. This country,
and I agree. Have a letter today which a man saying, Mike Prasad, stop what we should bring back Governor General.
Yes.
And they don't publish.
They don't. No. They stop. I sent numerous. Because this country, right? I have never batted for the PPP. My first commitment is to this nation. I believe political parties come and go, but the nation is first. And any government, I don't oppose for the sake of opposing. If a government is doing something good, I am going to support them. I know people who condemn the gold scholarships and said don't do it and all of that. But those very people, children were pursuing studies in American and British universities. These are the hypocrites and people who like to talk about being patriotic. Good? I don't care. If you are doing something, I am going to give you the kudos.
I want to tell you something which I think is an indictable crime against purely, not Guyanese groups, but African groups that have betrayed, not Guyanese, but betrayed African people. The statistics 20 years ago, the statistics 10 years ago, and the statistics in 2025 show 95% of people sentenced to jail for the possession of marijuana are not mixed or not African Guyanese.
Yes.
I spoke at Paradise with Basil Williams, and Williams promised that legislation. Promised. In Paradise, he was the last speaker.
And when they got
these people put
the
thing on the paper.
In the name of Michael character.
Even if the PNC come together, Basil Williams and the president, they said, nah, don't pass this thing. Where was Eric Phillips? Where was actor? Where was Judge Daniels in the public? So where was Lincoln Lewis? And every time, that's what I keep telling people
I know
about that hypocrite Clive Thomas. Up to now, Clive Thomas writes every day, every week in the Star book. Lincoln Lewis is a letter in the press every 3 days. And we must remember the historical this and that. And they do not say a word about those youths languishing in jail for possession of 5 grams of marijuana.
That is a betrayal. That is one. And not only that, and the hypocrisy.
And you know, Rupert took the wine, smoked marijuana almost every day in his life. I know Rupert well.
Yeah.
The first time I was given a marijuana cigarette in my life was Rupert gave me till I refused. Because I didn't know what if I smoked it, I could what would happen. I was already mad at that time. Nobody said
only that time and not now.
I'm still mad. So I was afraid the cigarette would send me mad out. But Gerald, how could African Guyanese forgive black people for this? The present PNC leader was in the government when the marijuana bill was scuttled.
Yes.
Yes.
You got...
Yeah, but let me show you something. During the 2020 fiasco, you had people saying, oh, the Western country, they use the word install. That the present government was installed. They still use it. But nobody comes out and tell you who installed them. Let them come out and tell us who installed them.
No,
right?
they don't say that.
They don't say that. But we assume that we know who they're talking about, that installed them. It was the Russians, it couldn't the Cubans or the Chinese.
Right.
Good. So the very people who said that the PPPC was installed by certain powers or agencies, they were calling, I heard senior people in APNU calling on the Western countries to do something. To do something. And I see people, even if we have political differences, I must be able to shake hands and we could put aside them. But in the presence of white diplomats, you could get together.
You got 10 minutes
and
more.
shake hands.
Craig? Gerald vociferousness scares you. I know he's a man is questioned all the time and back all the time.
No.
Gerald is an aggressive man.
I want to talk about our present day politics. A lot of, you look at the PPP rally, the PPP launch, so on, you're seeing a lot of Afro-Guyanese faces. Areas where when the PPP going in the past, they used to be chased out, are now accommodated. They could put up their flag, they could hold meetings, and what do you make of that shift that we're observing?
Leonard,
how do you explain it?
It's very complex. I'll say this. You know, Amilcar Cabral, great freedom fighter from Guinea-Bissau, said people don't fight for ideas in the head as such. He fight for material, based on the material conditions. And economics, you know, economics is a driving factor. And some theorists have always hit up on Marx, some theorists, Marx on this emphasis, on economism, the economic factor, but it's a reality. I think that people are looking at, and I'm not a social elitist, I am not here to tell people what I think is best for them. Good. I think that as things heat up, I think the world, you're seeing the world is moving. There's a great shift. Good. You're seeing that people are moving. The so-called neoliberal economics and so is not closing the gap between have and have-nots. And that is why someone like Zoran Mamdani can win campaigning on a Democratic Socialist ticket. I am saying that here...
Bernie Sanders is quite popular.
Yes, and Bernie Sanders, and you've seen it in Britain and so. Here, I think people are seeing some, to them, I talk to people, and they're talking about benefits of oil. They've condemned APNU for removing certain things when they got in, and doing things like putting taxes on jackass cards and so.
More 10,000.
10,000. So they don't want that.
Take us
so
given,
that's right. Given what is available, given what is available in the political landscape, there are many African Guyanese who will go with the PPP because they're turned off of APNU. Good. And you can see it also many who are gravitating towards
Win.
I think that the others like AFC and all of them will be wiped out in this elections. We stay away from it. And I want to say this. Because before you wind up, I saw a number of political parties, 20-something, and I said it's going to come down to 7. I think Mr. Vishnu Bishram wanted his moment. Right? And I think there's a lot of talk about treason and all of that, and so about the man who said that Essequibo belonged to Venezuela. Let me make it clear. Essequibo belongs to Guyana. But the question is, Guyana belongs to who? Freddie, do you know one of the well-kept secret in this country is 16 families. 16 families
own most of the land.
Own how much land in this country, including agricultural land, gold and mining and quarrying land.
Well, I got news for you. You said 16 families. I don't think anybody in this world would accuse me of racial pandering. Of those 16 families, you know 4 are Portuguese.
I know that. I know that. And I know that.
And
I know that. That's the reality.
When you got these square heads running around the place, they identify Indians, beat up the lady and take away your eggs and people at the
four powerful Portuguese family.
But
that dynamic does not change irrespective of which party goes into power. So all those people who talking about, yes, we believe in economic justice, but you can only get economic justice by democratizing the economy. Too much wealth in this country, wealth and land is in the hands of a few.
Do you know we had a guy on this program? He's pro-labor in the UK, and he's kind of left liberal. He named John Mayer.
I know John.
John Mayer came on this program and said, since all came, some wealthy seafront families have become indecently rich. Indecently
and we know the families.
Indecently rich. But I take your point, which is an academic point, and I expected that from you, with why Africans, because people are seeing the changes. The banal, vulgar, ugly response we get in this program is that they're looking for drink soup. That's why they're going over. And thank God we've got an academic response.
The other thing I want to say, Freddie, quickly, is I have, just to clear up some misconceptions. I have heard Clement Ruhi, who ought to know better, that just in clearing up some things, that Hamas was once a member of the PLO, right? He said that on the Ticker program. He wrote that.
No, Hamas was formed against the PLO.
Yeah, that's right.
And
Hamas was never formed.
Anyway, before we have 2 minutes to go, and I want us to finish.
Mr. Bishram and those, we have, like you said, Mike Passad and Mr. Bishram, who are advocating for this country to become a state of America, and those who want, I've heard Ravidev and Rohi calling for American bases in this country. That is treason.
Anyway,
that is treason.
Anyway, I know you more than correct, so I'll have correct to you the last question. A minute and a half more.
Yeah. You talk about the treasonous behavior, whatever. Why would us not want to have American presence in Guyana?
Because, listen carefully, I don't think we have time for that. If you study the history of this territorial controversy, you will see that the Americans have always been in the corner of Venezuela. When Venezuela annexed the Guyanese part of Ancoco, they did it with the blessings of America. Go back and read with Romulo Betancourt, who had the open phone line to Kennedy.
But they were only doing this because of Chavez.
Chavez.
No.
Remember Kissinger's statement?
So before we go,
Kissinger
if a right-wing regime comes in
good
Venezuela,
question, that's what I'm saying.
And allow for American accommodation of geopolitics.
That's right.
And that right-wing government said, we want some of the oil in the U.S.
The dynamic will change.
But still, we were close with this, but still, that we are facing Maduro.
Yeah.
And we have to look for friends.
I think that Venezuela is a neighbor, and we have to live with Venezuela. And I think the way forward is dialogue, discussion, without meddling. Two senior Caribbean diplomats told me that when they were planning the meeting between President Ali and Ralph Gonzalez in St. Vincent, pressure was being exerted on them not to hold it. President Ali, before the ink could dry, a British warship was heading in. Remember Kissinger?
We got to go quickly.
America has no permanent friends and no permanent enemies.
How you see the election?
Based on what I'm seeing on the ground, I think the PPP is going to win the election.
On that
with a minority or majority government?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay, you don't think,
but you just think they're gonna win.
I just think so.
All right.
Okay.
I have never batted. I don't support any of the political parties because I'm ideologically driven.
We gotta go now. We've spent 1 hour talking with one of Guyana's most experienced, definitely one of Guyana's most experienced political activists. He's been around more than 50 years. That should count for something. Gerald Perreira, I hope you enjoyed the 1 hour discussion. We'll have Gerald back as usual. He was out of the country almost for half a year, so we'll have him back. Thanks for being with us. We were broadcasting from the iconic Botanic Gardens and on open air first, and the rain came and we're under a lovely banner. We will see you our next edition. On behalf of Gerald Perreira,